This is Good Girl Gone Human, an ongoing conversation that serves the frequency of rehumanization. We believe that in striving towards being good and away from being bad, we can lose touch with our humanity and uniqueness. Our hope is that in expanding our capacity to accept our own humanity, we expand the capacity to accept and hold each other's humanity as well.
We welcome uncertainty and questions with curiosity. This is not a roadmap for the right way to be human. We hold tenderly how seductive and human it is to reach for a formula that will provide a sense of certainty and safety. This is not that place, but rather a place for dropping into our big, messy questions.
This isn't just for the recovering good girls out there, but for every human who desires to peel off the layers that hide the wholeness of who they are.
We want to tell the stories of how messy and complicated and beautiful it is to find ourselves in the aftermath of this shedding. There is space for your story, and we want you to join us on this journey of rehumanization. Hi, humans. Hi, Holly. How are you?
Great.
I'm so excited because today we are joined by a very special guest, Dr. Rick Diamond. Hi, Rick. How are you?
Hi, guys. I'm so glad to be here.
We
I'm
are
so happy to be with you. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for your yes. We're so excited. So, Dr. Rick is you're a lot of things, but if I want to list out your titles, you've been an English professor, a pastor, a community leader, retreat facilitator, author, and story healer. And so you're on Instagram as Dr. Rick Diamond, but known as Rick the Story Healer. And that's kind of our introduction to you, was the Instagram gods, as they do, shined upon me and put you in my algorithm. And there you were, and just the kindness of who you are, and especially your little tagline, your little catchphrase, which is, "Hello, you beautiful, shining, eternal soul, having a human experience." And as we joined forces for the podcast, that juxtaposition of this beautiful, shining soul having a human experience was like, oh my gosh, it's Rick. And so we were just telling you this morning how grateful we are that you're here, and it feels like you just fit in our frequency so well. So we're happy to talk with you today.
Thank you. I love what you are doing, and I love the invitation to all of us to be human, to be fully human. It's the hardest thing. It's the scariest thing. It's the biggest thing. And you're just saying, hey, let's normalize this. Let's talk about it. And I love the podcast episodes so far where you've talked about different modalities and questions people are struggling with, and women's circles and blah, 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 blah. So I'm down for wherever we want to go. I'm in.
We're going.
I love that. Yeah. Thanks for those reflections back. Yeah. Like, I'm glad you brought up his catchphrase, tagline, whatever you want to call it. It really felt like, so when I'm scrolling on Instagram, I'm usually on Instagram to learn. And sometimes that's how I, speaking of the invitation to be human, that's an invitation to myself as well, because I'm like really bad at it. I'm always trying to heal, reach some healed TM state, right? So when I'm on Instagram scrolling to learn, it's like sometimes I don't catch that there's this how do I get better, do better, be better. So when I get to your videos and there's just such a kindness in your eyes, I'm like, oh wait, this is an invitation even from the get-go to just, oh yeah, I am this mysterious eternal, can't even describe it, soul and the human experience. Maybe I can hold both right now. So to start, because we do want to talk about your book, we want to talk about your everything story healing, you as a pastor, but can we start with that phrase? How did that come to you? Why do you say it? Whatever you want to share about that.
Thank you. The thing that is important to me about that phrase, and starting with that phrase, is the exact thing that you just talked about. And both Holly and Christina were talking about this from different angles a minute ago. The thing that we feel like we have to somehow figure out or manage or create or achieve or be is just not the truth. I'm absolutely convinced that it's not the truth. We are in this big construct that tells us this is who you're supposed to be. This is how you're supposed to behave. This is how you're supposed to perform. And then you will get, if you do it, you'll get these goodies. And if you don't do it, you'll be punished in this way, or we'll take these goodies away from you. It's so insidious. It's in everything. It's all the time. Even to your point where I'm just scrolling along, relaxing. I mean, I'm scrolling. I think I'm relaxing, but what I'm not relaxing. I'm working the whole time. Oh, that's that breathing thing. I should get better at that thing. And oh, that's that. And for people who come from, say, a high demand religious setting, that becomes even worse. And for men in our culture, there is a whole, message. I was going to say a web. It's worse than that. I don't know what it is. And for women, and the women that I work with in my story healing practice, the crushing expectations that are placed on women in our culture are just heartbreaking. They're so horrible. When I was digging deeper and deeper and deeper into spirituality, and my spirituality overflowed the banks of my religion, if that makes any sense at all. I wasn't throwing out my Christian context as much as I just thought, I don't know how much of this even fits me anymore. This was in my 50s. I'm in my mid 60s now, and I kept thinking, there's something I'm missing. There's something I'm missing. What is the thing that I'm missing? And it wasn't like I have to figure it out. I was just really curious. And what happened was that I realized there was this connecting thread in talking to people that happened over and over and over. And it was always the same thing. Am I going to hell? Am I bad? Does God hate me? Have I screwed it up so bad I can never come back? Am I okay? And I don't know I don't know whether a portal opened. I don't know if this was my mystical. I don't know if I was having and the heavens were ripped open, and I don't know what it was, but some little, maybe it was a seed that actually broke through the soil. I just started to realize every human being was this beautiful, eternal thing in their body, in their experience set, in their emotions, in their thoughts. I had been reading Eastern philosophy, and I had been studying Buddhism, and I had been studying Native American spirituality, and I got more and more interested in the idea of the shamanic approach to spirituality that's connecting us at a deep, deep level as well as our conscious level. And I just thought, maybe there's nothing wrong with any of us. Maybe we're just beloved and beautiful as we are. And maybe the thing that we need to realize is that there's more going on than, how did I handle my to-do list today? Did I achieve the thing today? Or maybe if I just get spiritual enough, that's not a thing. That's not a thing. And for me, whether it's the Jewish scriptures or the Christian scriptures or Eastern scripture or whatever, it's the through line is, for me, that core idea that all of us are spiritual and all of us are physical, human, with our stuff, with our sweat glands, with our hair follicles, with our mistakes, with our joy. And it's all beautiful. All of it. All of it, all of it, all of it. And immediately somebody will always respond, yeah, but what about?
Sure.
Yep, we know.
Yeah.
We know that.
Right? And they say, but what about? And they talk about human suffering, or what about evil, or they talk about whatever. And I don't change the answer.
Yeah.
We're here to learn and grow and experience. And there is, like, when I'm sitting in a circle of men, or when I'm sitting with a client and we're doing deep work together, something gets thin and I can feel how big they are. And how big I am.
That's beautiful.
And they're just in their body and I'm just in my body. But that's like the three of us right now, y'all. It's so beautiful. Like, it's happening right now. We're all together right now having this experience. How did that even happen? It's so great.
Yeah, magic.
It could blow our mind. I mean, I could go so existential sometimes on that. It's that expanding and then coming back into your body. And you touched on this thing that Holly and I talk about a lot, which is, as we left our fundamental religion, then you're kind of in this floaty, curious space, and you find that a lot of spiritualism and spirituality is about transcending your human experience. And so we're sitting in like, yes, and we also really want to accept and love and cherish this human experience.
It's kind of all,
Yes.
all we have.
That's like
right
the
now.
body is
like the really good, this is a beautiful gift
It's a
that we've
good
been given
thing.
to have this human experience.
Yes,
right?
and there's something easier really about going to the mountain, meditating, leaving your body and leaving, because the human experience is gritty. Connecting with other people is, you can't control it. It's messy. It's hard. It hurts. Like it literally hurts having
Yeah.
a human body sometimes. So yeah, it's easier to go sit and like leave your body, you know? And so the work of trying to stay in the body, I get the like, but like that question people want to ask, you know?
Those questions are human too. It's like, yeah, I want to believe that, and it feels good you're seeing me in that way, but do you see my pain too? And are you sure? Are you sure? Can we talk about it? I'm hearing a lot of like, I'd love to hear more about what storywork is, the way that it's settling on me now, and I'd love for you to confirm or deny. It's almost like you're helping people remember.
Absolutely.
This is just the truth. Like, I'm here to just reflect and help you remember. Like, well, what about human suffering? Yes. Oh, yes. Owie. And can I help you remember? So I'm curious if that fits. And what is your definition of story healing?
Thank you. Yes. Yes, I help people remember. Here's the really beautiful part about that. It's not up to me necessarily as the facilitator, as the story healer, to make anything happen. They're already doing it. Like each of us has so much beautiful intuitive wisdom. I'm convinced that we're led through our path, that our inner wisdom and that our intuition, our higher self, our soul, our whatever you want to call it, really has it's pretty well laid out. And we're in free will in the sense that we're responding with what we have in every moment, and we say yes to this and no to that. But I mean, there's too much synchronicity and there's too much connectedness for things to be totally random. And there are things now that I look back 10 years later and say, oh my God, of course that's what was supposed to happen. That's how I was able to learn this, which then led to this, then led to this. So when I'm doing story healing with people, what I'm really doing is just paying attention and listening to what the little cues are about what they need to remember and what they need to connect to. The technique goes like this. Somebody comes with a question. It could be a question like, well, what am I supposed to do about this? Or they're in discomfort about something, or there's a marriage thing, or there's a job thing, or my knee hurts, or I'm falling apart, whatever. The question is the entry point. Then what we do is we say, so what are you feeling and what are you thinking? What's in your body? Like, what's your energetic field? What's this setting inside of you responding to? I'm in agony. I'm in pain. I'm in fear. I'm angry. I'm whatever. The more we can just be in all of it, how messy and painful and beautiful it is, the better. I'm sweating. I'm a mess. I'm whatever. Good. Great. Worst possible answer is, I'm good, dude. I'm good. Like that, we're not getting anywhere. That's small talk at church. Can I say that? That's like,
Yes.
That's not going to cut it. And then what we do is say, okay, so the next step after we just identified this is the question and this is how it feels is there something that has led you to the question? And that's the story.
Ooh.
Okay.
And the story could be anything from I married this person and he's a jackass and I'm really unhappy. And I then just say, what led you to that? Like, what is the thing that led you to this place where you are now? And then that might be that person talks about, well, I felt like I was supposed to get married in college, or I felt like I really wanted to find somebody and I was getting too old, or he seemed really, really great and now I feel like I've betrayed myself. Like the story will immediately start to unfold itself because there is a reason why this decision led to this decision, led to this decision. And then the next thing to ask is, so what script were you following and what role were you playing? And so then the whole thing becomes, I get to own, this was the plan, or this was the program, or these were the expectations. This is what my mom wanted. This is what the culture wanted. This is what the church wanted. This is what I wanted. And then it just becomes a repetition of, so is that what you want? Is that what you want? Is that what you want? And then we just get to make up, well, what do you want?
Yeah.
What would that look like? What would you, and there's the resistance. There's all the gatekeeping inside that says, I can't have what I want. What are you, that's not a thing. So then we process that too. And if there's some anger work to do about the gatekeeping or the messaging, or if there's grief work to do about that, we can do that. If somebody needs to write a letter to our mom, we can do, the tools are endless. The principle, though, is the same, to come back to what is the belief, what's the story, what's the framework, what's the script that led you here? Does it fit? What do you want? That's it. Then we write a new story.
Oh, that's it.
That's it. Yeah. No,
That's a lot.
that is so, I love hearing that process because, like we said, we have taken in a lot of your content. And I always go, I wonder what story healing is. But it jumped out to me because we one of our big pillars of Good Girl Gone Human is doing our best to not give our power away to authorities, especially therapists. Like, so even the word therapist or pastor, it's like, whether we like mean it to or not, there's like a hierarchical response. And so story healer feels like this spacious invitation for you to just be like, come just sit with me and let me reflect to you what I see. And you even said it yourself, like, they're doing it, but we do need, as humans, we do need other people to witness what we're going through. I tried to get rid of people and do it myself, and it didn't work. So
turns out,
darn it,
we need each other.
Who knew? Yeah.
But yeah, I've heard you say too that like everything is story, and that we are not our story or the story, and that's really hard for me to take. I can understand everything is story, right? I can think about religion and like the story of that, right? We've talked about feeling broken, sinful, bad. Like you said, am I going to go to hell? If the fact that that's people's fear and question shows what a big story that is. And so I can kind of name that that's a story. And then I get a little sticky on like, and that's not me. And like, how do we disconnect ourselves when everything is story? It's the water we're swimming in. To individuate is really hard work. I feel like, I don't know.
It is hard work. Here's the thing. We are so identified with the thing that we have been experiencing. Does that make sense? We're so identified with, this is the job I have. This is the body that I'm in. These are the emotions that I have. These are the thoughts that I have. This is the pattern that I've been in. Like, we think that's who we are. Like, we could just stop with that. Like, we could just sit with that. We think that's who we are. But I mean, the body that you're in now is not the body that you had when you were 5. Right? I mean, it is the body, but it's not. Right? Wait a minute. Is it not the body I had? How do you realize how many trillions of times the cells in your body have turned over? Like, old cells have disappeared and new cells have been made. The body that this body that's 64 and a half years old is actually only a couple of days old. Right? Parts of it are it's just being recycled all the time, made new.
That's really good news.
Food, right?
Need to hear that.
It's made out of food, it's made out of oxygen, it's made out of water. Like, my body is making a new body all the time. You're also not your thoughts. Here's how I know you're not your thoughts, because I had different thoughts yesterday, but I had a lot of the same thoughts yesterday. But I mean, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So we can't be these thoughts, and I'm not this job. I mean, clearly, because I could change jobs. I have changed jobs.
Right.
And it's like, I'm not my clothes. Oh, but I am my clothes. But I've changed my clothes. I'm not this house. I'm not this, right?
Yeah.
So the thing that is important about seeing that I'm not the story is, the trick is, and Christina, you're totally right about this, I'm so identified with it because it's been how I've made meaning.
Right. It makes so much sense.
Does that track?
Yes. Of course, we're trying to categorize everything, and we want to know, it does go back to belonging. Where do I belong here,
Right.
what the role. You used the word script and role earlier. And I
Right.
think as good girls, recovering good girls, talk about our role. We know our role. I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be, so that meaning making, it totally resonates. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to
You
me.
and I love meaning making. We love metaphor. We love lyrics. We love poetry. So I'm like, oh, wow. That really sank in deep there of like, oh, I'm attached to my story because it's helping me make meaning of the world. Of
Right.
course it's hard to let go of.
Right. And part of that is good, right? Part of the meaning making that we adopt does give us a sense of how to move through the world, or it can be that healthy sense of ego, as in, I'm doing this thing. This really feels good. I'm making this contribution. I made this great meal. I had a beautiful walk today. All of those things where we say this thing that is important to me that I participated in, that it felt enriching for me and life-giving for me. That's good. I'm not the walk I took. I'm not the meal I made. But I am this person that I'm being. I don't think I am this person that I'm being. I think I am a soul being this person, in which case this person is not even who I am. I am the experience that my soul is having in being this person. So even the roles that I've identified with aren't what I am, especially when, as you guys are doing in your podcast, which is so beautiful, calling attention to how many times the roles have been wrong.
Right.
When we took on a role and we said, okay, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be this. One of the best, most powerful things that can happen when people do the story healing process is to say, I'm going to list the job, I'm going to write the job description of that role that I had or that I have, that I'm still in. I'm this husband, I'm this wife, I'm this good, I'm the good son. Oh my heavens. So sometimes I'll say to somebody, would you please, if we need to identify the good son role, would you write that as a job description for your homework between now and our next session? And they roll in for the next session and go, dude, because in
Brutal.
seeing it outside of themselves,
Yeah.
because it's not who they really are, it's the role they've been playing. And there was a script for the role, and there were agreements for the role, and there were things,
Safety.
if I do this, then I get
Yeah,
this.
sure.
Blah, 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 blah. So we are so closely identified with the roles that we're playing or the things that we've accepted for meaning making that tell us who we are. But there is a sacred part of us. There is a deeper part of us that is not any of those things. And that's what I'm really interested in, because that is the place in us that gets to decide to do something different if we want to.
Beautiful.
I think, sorry, go ahead.
We're both so
We're
excited. Yeah.
Well, I think as you were sharing that, when I just said earlier, I feel stuck on that next part. As you were talking, it's like when you say, yeah, that's where we get to make the new story. And my body has this little reaction. And I'm thinking that it's going back to our conversations we've had about agency. When I have a role that I'm playing, and when there's a script and there's a story that's playing out and I just am part of it, playing my part, I'm losing some of my agency, but I actually feel safe there, right? Like there's less accountability, there's less responsibility. So if you're telling me, okay, here's the story you have in this area of your life, do you want it to be that? And I say, no. And then you say, okay, let's change it. Now I have personal accountability. Now I have responsibility. And that freedom, that liberation is almost like too
It's scary.
overwhelmingly beautiful and terrifying, you know?
Yeah, it's
That
a lot.
agency.
The responsibility of freedom and agency means that it's me. It's mine. And
Yeah.
oh crap. I mean, hooray at the same time, because
Crap
now
and
what?
hooray.
Who do I blame it on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is sort of taking me back to like, growing up in high control religion and then curious about your journey as like in ministry. It actually, I have so much like love and grace for younger versions of myself because it felt really good and safe to give my freedom and agency up. That's how I stayed safe. So can't be mad at her. I would love to hear a bit more about your journey of like being in ministry, and then how'd you switch? How's the switch to where you are now, and whatever you want to share in that.
Thank you for asking. That thing that you said about being compassionate. Like one of the things, my wife, whose name is Christina Wisdom, which is the greatest name ever.
It is.
She and I are co-writing a book about story healing. And one of the things that we say over and over and over is the need for it's crucial that we have compassion for the younger versions of ourselves and the former versions of ourselves, and just look at them and say, that choice that you made to be in that space, that choice that you made to be in that role, that those agreements that you made them because that's what was in front of you and that's what seemed best, and that's how you understood yourself in the world. And you were beautiful and you did great and there's nothing wrong with you. You're okay. I messed up. Why did I date him? Right? That's not it's okay to ask the questions that if they lead to meaningful reflection. But if all we're doing is beating ourselves up because of where we were, we're missing the beauty of that's where I was. Right? There is something beautiful about saying that was true then. This is true now. That gives us the ability to rewrite and to reimagine and to rethink. I did the very same thing. My role was to be a good boy. I mean, I killed it. I was great.
Yeah, I bet.
Such a good boy. And my family of origin was very chaotic, and very dangerous and violent and loud and, emotionally unstable, and lots of divorces and lots of noise. And we moved. I think my younger sister and I have counted 22 times by the time I graduated from high school.
Oh my
gosh.
Chaos.
So, one of the through lines was that we went to church. And so wherever we would go, we would find the church, and we would all be like nice church people, which was good, right? It gave some structure. It gave some community. It gave some meaning. And there was meaning making that came from that, which was lovely. And at the same time, as soon as I went to college, I was like, screw this, I'm not going to church anymore, which was terrific. I was so excited. And I just, slept in and whatever. And I was still in the good boy mode and the role that I was playing. And so I went to a Christian college, and the part of the script was that you meet somebody and get married. Like that was, and again, I'm super old. This was in the late 70s and early 80s.
That's still the rule, I think, at Christian colleges. Just
ring by spring.
Ring by spring is
what they say.
Right? Yeah.
So I did that, and I didn't want to go to church. She had never gone to church. That was not her family of origin. That was my first wife. And she said, could we maybe go to church? I was like, I'm only going to go if it's not like super emotionally manipulative and weird. And so we
good rule.
we went to a nice series of nice, very middle of the road white bread mainline denominational congregations, blah 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 blah. It was lovely. It was fine. It was whatever. We're going because everybody goes, right? That was a role to play.
Yeah.
But what was weird was that I started having like clearly mystical experiences that I could not quantify or explain. I was having like spiritual awakenings, which made no sense to me. I'm feeling something, like I'm like, what's happening right now? And I, would meditate, which I didn't know what that was, but I mean, I would just be sitting quietly and being still and or journaling or whatever, and then feel something. What is happening? So anyway, I went to a friend who was a pastor and said, what is happening? And he said, oh dude, you're having a spiritual awakening. Have you ever read the Bible, like a book in the Bible, like as a story? Because I was an English teacher. I was a college English teacher. I loved poetry. Right. I loved art. I loved story, the idea of narrative and myth and legend and, blah, blah, blah. Like I fell in love with the heart, like the development of the human heart. And he said, why don't you just read the Gospel of Mark? He was like, it's the shortest. I was like, okay, you sold me. So he said, read it beginning, middle to end. Read it as a story. And I said, do people read the Bible? Like, why would they do that? Like, it's just for quoting so that you can tell us how to be good this week or whatever. And he was like, no. You should really check it out. And I got obsessed with the quest for the historical Jesus and for archaeological interpretation of scripture. And then I got obsessed with like textual criticism. And then I went to seminary. And I just like, I remember saying to one of the professors at SMU in Dallas, why aren't you telling anybody this stuff? This is great. Like, this is really interesting. And he said, nobody wants to hear this. They just want to be told a nice thing to believe. Nobody wants to ask these big questions. And I was like, I want to ask all these. I want the whole thing.
Interesting.
And they offered, our little local church offered me a job to be the education pastor once I finished seminary and got ordained. And I said, okay, I'm going to leave. I was a college English teacher for 10 years. And then I went and did this. And I loved the people. I loved when we're having a meaningful conversation like this one. That was the best. I got super depressed also. I did not love being told things like, hey, what we really, really want is satisfied customers and butts in pews and money in the plate.
Yeah.
Like that was an existential crisis for me. And I went into a big dark night of the soul and went into therapy. This was in my mid-30s, had 2 little kids, blah, blah, blah. What's it all about? My faith completely collapsed, which is, kind of a challenge.
Yeah,
kind of.
We see you. yeah.
A little bit.
If that's the boss, yeah.
But the other side of that was something else was happening, like some spiritual thing was happening. So I didn't have any interest in the big machine, but I was so interested in what's happening in the heart. Like, what is happening in the heart? I became fascinated with reading Jewish and Christian scriptures and everything else that I could find. If it's about something that is happening that's transformational in a human setting, like what were Jesus and these people experiencing? Like, what is like for real? What's happening? I don't care about the doctrine. I want to know what is going on here. Like, what is happening? And I lasted in traditional religion. I worked in 2 different churches for 10 years, and then it just did not work anymore. And I couldn't answer platitudes, and I couldn't vouch for religion. I just couldn't do it. And a little group of people, I got fired from a mega church where I was working here in Austin. It was just the wrong fit. And a lovely group of people said, well, could we just meet on Sundays and then just talk about all this weird stuff that you were talking about? And I said, is that a thing? And then that became a faith community that I led for 17 years here in Austin, called Journey Imperfect Faith Community.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And it was very low to the ground. It was very open source, very collaborative, a total disaster all the time. We never knew from one Sunday to the next if we were going to meet again, if we were going to run out of money, if everybody was going to show up. It was a blast. It was terrific. And it was very much I don't know what I believe. I don't know what this is about. I have questions. And it was also devotional at the same time. Like, we had these really beautiful, meaningful, mystical, quiet experiences. And then somebody would, make art, and somebody would sing, and somebody would tell a story, and somebody would read a Rumi poem, and I would talk. And the whole time I kept saying, don't ask me because I don't know. I don't know the answer. I can't answer this for you. I don't know. So we were all just meaning-making together.
Yeah.
Oh, we need more leaders that say, I don't know. What do you think? I love that.
I was just thinking that arc of just people, when you say it was a disaster, it's like, yeah, because without the roles and without that big story that we're all kind of following, everyone's kind of looking around like, who's in charge here? Like, and they want that. And I think for a leader to just keep handing it back to a group to say, I don't know, what do you think? What do we want to make? What meaning do we want to make out of this experience is so beautiful.
Yeah.
And it was like an open faith community, right? Like people were coming from all different perspectives.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And big group discussions, and somebody raises their hand and somebody else says, I don't even know what we're talking about right now. And then somebody else says, could we just dismiss and go assemble bags to give to our homeless brothers and sisters on the street corner? Yeah, let's just quit talking. Let's just do something. And, it was very
Human.
much about
Human.
everybody. There's no podium, no stage, just the floor. And the chairs were different every week, and we just were making stuff up as we went, which
Well,
was
Yeah, that
so.
container.
Out of that,
So
once I'd done
beautiful.
that once I'd been in ministry for 30 years, I was like, I got to take a break and feel into what the next thing is, and that's where story healing came from. Because really, it was always the same thing. It was always
Yeah,
sitting
I
with
see
people and
that.
saying, "What's the story? What are you chewing on? What are you struggling with? How'd you make meaning to get here? Now, what do you want?" So I just started leading retreats and working with clients, and that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, and people want
Wow.
that. I mean, I think about that container you're in where somebody could raise their hand and say, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I can picture a church, a traditional church on Sunday morning, and how many people are thinking, I don't
Right,
know what you're talking about. But the
right,
container is not made for that, right? It just doesn't fit the system. And so to create a container like that where someone goes, I don't know what you're talking about, it makes so much sense that the new container you have is sitting with people who go, I don't even know what I'm talking about, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what's my story? What's happening? And I feel like so much of your story healing work is something we talk about a lot, which is like deep witnessing and just presence. And we get that from each other all the time. We've experienced that in my women's circles and other places where it's just no more solving, no more words. Like you said, let's be done talking and go make a bag for somebody who needs help. And I think so much of, I can imagine people coming to you wanting to hand you their power, wanting to have you rewrite the story for them. Okay, give me a new script. And
right.
really, you've created this container, it sounds like, of just deep witnessing, you
the
know?
deep, the deep witnessing and the like. I tell people all the time, I'm just a mirror, right?
Yeah.
And the idea is that they already know what the new story that they're longing for is. They already know what the thing is that they this morning, a woman that I was working with on a Zoom call, we likened what she's going through right now to a snake shedding its skin.
We love
That's
that.
our podcast cover.
Hello.
Yeah.
That's
Hello.
amazing. Yeah.
Hello. And the idea of her, like her deep feminine, her sacred feminine, knowing what's next. I was like, it's that you know that the snake is the thing that's running what you're going through now. She was like, I know. Like, right, the pain of shedding the old thing and being willing to move into the new thing, and the willingness for me. I don't. She knows the answer. I don't need to tell her anything. She knows
Yeah.
exactly what it is that she's discovering. I'm just there to help. I'm just there to be a rock for her to rub her face on so that she can
Yeah.
pull her old skin off of, that she
Totally.
doesn't need
Yes.
anymore.
The bravery
Yes.
of, because it's almost like a safe container to fight that resistance within yourself, because they know you're going to challenge the story. But it's like there's this, could even be unconscious, like knowing I'm ready to look in the mirror. And that's so brave. Like, not everyone wants to go, like, I'm sit with a story healer, like, and meet my story
Yeah.
head on. So it's like the bravery of looking in the mirror creates all this space for, I don't want to, don't make me, like, keep this, because you can hold that as well, that part of the human experience, because that's so natural. Like, that death is like, we want to like cheat it, but it's so natural to die and be reborn.
It's
Brave.
good for us. I mean, that's how the new thing. It's spring here in North America. I mean, all like the old thing is
Yes.
falling down, and the new things are all being born on the
Oh,
trees,
yeah.
and it's beautiful, and it's messy, and there's pollen all over my car, and it's good.
Yeah.
But Holly, to your point, no, really nobody wants that. Do you know what I mean? Like nobody wants to. Nobody. I love that in the Greek, after Jesus comes up out of the water and he has his mystic experience where he sees the heavens ripped open, and then his spirit animal, which happens to be a dove, lights on. I'm using shamanic
I
language
love
now,
it.
but right, you got it.
We're here.
And then the Greek says, and then that little bird that landed on him drove him into the wilderness to be tested. And the Greek is the same thing as like when a farmer is driving oxen to pull something heavy. Like
Whoa.
that brother does not want to have this experience. Who wants to go into the desert and suffer? And who wants to put their face on a rock and have their old skin pulled off.
Yeah.
Nobody wants it.
No one.
That shadow work. Yeah.
We don't want shadow work. We don't want to look. But the other side of that is, as you both of you are modeling for us, when the old thing is not the truth anymore, when the thing that has held us doesn't, it's not, it won't hold. And when it's not serving where we want to go or who we were created to be, it's time. It's time
We shed
to
it.
cross the threshold.
Yeah, could you like deepen into that, because I'm hearing and like nodding along, and I have personal experiences of saying yes to that work. But there is like, I'm thinking earlier you said sometimes we do anger work, sometimes we do grief work. It's like the reality is like saying yes to that shedding is like getting really fucking angry or like being taken out by grief. So can you like talk about the story of like, I'm not even sure how to ask the question, but the bravery it takes to even be willing to, and the resistance we have in our culture to be angry, to be great. Like we want to like get past it to get your new skin. And that doesn't work for me. I'm like, I have to get swallowed by it. But like, we need some help. Like, so how do you like guide people in feeling into their okayness and their eternal soul in the midst of like some gnarly rage, anger, grief work?
Gnarly rage, anger, grief work.
This is a selfish question.
Oh, no, it's all good.
This is where I'm at.
Christina and I have in our garage downstairs a punching bag hanging from the ceiling, right? Like part of the work is to be fully in our bodies and to say, I am angry. I have anger right now. I'm sad right now. I'm confused right now. I am in disequilibrium right now. We don't have a axe throwing pit at our house, but I would love it. Like maybe we should build it in the backyard. I don't, right? Axe throwing. Have you done it? Oh my!
No, I'm gonna look up where to do that after this, though.
There's one close by. Yeah. I'll send you. There is one.
You throw hatchets and they right.
Or a rage room. I've been in a rage room before.
Rage room. Yes. I want to say this about axe throwing. Don't throw the axe hard. Like that's a trick. If you're like, son of a bit, that's not it. You just barely let it fly, and then it sticks to the target, and it's beautiful.
That's metaphorical.
Yeah, I'm like, we can camp out there. I'm just kidding.
Right. Hello.
Really? The ease.
The question about like the invitation is not to produce any. I'm not trying to get somebody madder so that they'll do the work. They're already angry.
Oh yeah, it's in there.
It's to create a safe enough space so that they can believe that if they feel into their anger or their grief or their sadness or their how about this one, or their joy,
Yes.
right?
So
that
true.
they won't die,
Yes.
that the whole world won't collapse. I think that the real problem is that we are living in this matrix that has sold us this whole spiritual bypassing, emotional bypassing sitcom viewpoint of what we're supposed to look like and be like, and it's in 15-second commercials, or it's in super quick ads on social media, or it's on sitcoms, and everything gets worked out in 30 minutes, and that's bullshit. It's just not the truth. It's just not the truth. The truth is messy. The truth is that we may have to sit in something for a long time before we're ready to shift. We don't move into the shift because we don't have anybody modeling that for us. What we have instead is men being stoic, women being this, older brothers being this, pastors being this, politicians being right. None of it is very, very, very well, none. Very little of it, in my experience, is truly authentic to how messy and also how beautiful it is to go through transformation. Because it is beautiful. And when somebody is splayed out on the ground weeping, and they're really feeling into their grief or their sadness or their joy, like, everybody stop. We don't need to do anything else today. This is why we were all born, just to be in this beautiful moment right here. It's not about the moral of the story. It's just about this beautiful, this person was willing to feel into this space. So like, that's always the energy that I bring to all of this work. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
what do we get to,
Yeah.
like, it's in there. You guys are, if there's 10 of us here, there's 10 things ready to turn
go.
over
To be
if we
witnessed,
just
yeah.
hold our mouth right, if we just are right.
Oh, yeah.
And so for me, the real invitation is, it's already there. Each person's wisdom is going to know when they're ready. And so I just use practices for myself. I do a lot of meditation. I do a lot of silence work. I do a lot of walking. And then it'll be easy to know it'll be easy to know if somebody needs to beat on a pillow or scream or cry or be held. If I sit with a men's circle on Tuesday nights here in my house, there's 10 or 11 of us, depending. And we don't do anything. Like, we're not trying to accomplish anything.
Yeah.
But I told him last night, as I tell him very, very often, the first half an hour is just looking at each other. Like, just looking at each other.
Wow.
And then everybody's saying, this is my intention for tonight. I want to open my heart, or I want to feel my anger, or I want to... Guys, I don't have anything. I'm just here. Right? That's a good answer, too.
Yeah.
And by the time 30 minutes have gone by out on my back porch, we are already doing something so counterculturally, radically
Yes.
revolutionary
Beautiful.
by just being still with ourselves and each other. The rest the work will come out of it. So for me, it's just really, to your point, about being present to what's already there and just letting that guide us to what needs to crack open. It'll crack open.
Yeah. I'm feeling such a deep resonance with your work and our work, and I'm just like flooded with gratitude. Like, first, like, before this podcast existed, our connection as friends was me joining her women's circle. And I always had in the back of my mind, like, I hope there's men's circles out there. Like, the men need this too. And so I'm just feeling like really like warm, like they are out there doing it. They're doing it. And so I'm just so grateful for that work that you're doing. And I'd love to see that locally. Let's like talk about that. And then the second like piece of resonance is like, wow, like the reason why we call this a frequency, like this humanizing frequency, is we have our little like phrases and words to talk about this work, but it doesn't belong to us and it's not the only way. And to hear you talking about your work is like, this is the same work. And we all have come to our own language about it. And like, I just kept hearing as you were sharing that, like, that's so humanizing. And the culture is like, no, put it in this tidy box. If you're anger, here's how to deal with it. Or like numbing in certain ways is like really acceptable. And to expand into the full spectrum of our humanity, which is our language, is saying that's just what's present. It's in there. I could deny it, or I could stare in this group that's sitting in a circle and be like, there's some anger here and I'm safe to let it out. And that beautiful work that we're all doing, and it's just really encouraging. I'm just so grateful.
I'm grateful too. Thank you so much for what you are doing. It matters. It's a big deal. Like, it's a really big deal.
Thank you.
Real.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think something I heard you just say too is like thinking about sitting with somebody in that work and being like, that's not the moral of the story. Like, we're not trying to get to the moral of the story. And I can camp out there a little bit, even as I look at story. What's the lesson? What's the thing? What's the, I got Enneagram 1, like Virgo rising, whatever you want to call it. I want to like know that it mattered, but not just like, oh, my experience mattered. Where did it take me? Where did I go? And so just that, like that language, I love that you just brought up, like, we're getting new language to expand our experience of this podcast too. And I just think that like, there doesn't need to be a moral to the story. That phrase just like really stuck with me, because the imagery of the snake, obviously we sat with that a lot. Our podcast has the snake and it's halfway through shedding. And as I've sat with that imagery of just like, when it's shedding, right? It starts on its own, that thing of when people are ready, it comes, and the new skin is already there. Because that tension we feel of what's the next thing, I do feel this tension. I don't know. I don't know what I want the new story to be. That's what I want to tell myself. And it's like, the new story's already here. You don't shed your skin and then go look for new skin.
Right.
You shed your
Hello.
skin and the skin is
Thank you.
already there. The new skin is there.
We
and
can trust it.
we can trust it. And sometimes like that's the old new is happening. We talked about that on another
old
episode
new.
where even on our podcast the skin is half off. And so just letting that tension of old new, oh, here's that old story. Oh, here's that thing I really want. I guess I want to believe this about myself. I really keep telling myself this is true. Okay, it's still rubbing on the rock. What rock can I kind of shimmy up against right now? What tools do I have? And so I feel so like grounded in just like resting in our human experience, you know,
Yes.
a little bit more.
Yeah.
That observation that you just made too about how the new skin is already there, the new story's already there. The snake is not going to feel compelled to go and get rid of the old skin until the new skin is ready. It's time. It's like
It's beautiful.
we can trust our intuition. We can trust our deep wisdom. We can trust the inner knowing that we will know that the door will open, that the thing that we need will be presented to us, that we are on a purposeful path all the time, that it's not this outer thing that's in charge. It's this beautiful thing that's within us, and we can trust that. And I have this running gag going with my higher self. Like we have an ongoing,
A bit.
he's funny, but I mean, I'm just saying.
He's funny.
And he'll just say, wow, you were just so busy today. You really, goodness great. What a productive fellow you were. I'm just like, yeah. Okay, I get it. I mean, slow down now. You do you, whatever you want. All right. Just being able to trust that things are unfolding in perfect timing. Yeah, but what about there's so much going on that we don't see. There's so much that we don't see. We
So
can just
much.
lean into the thing that we need to know, the thing that we need to be open to, the thing that we need to step into.
Yeah.
Will be shown to us.
Yeah.
And we can trust that, and we can just take the next step. We don't have to. There is no moral to the story.
There's
no
no moral to
That's
this.
not a thing.
That's something I'm going to say
I'm
for
like,
the rest of my
okay,
life.
I know, but even everything you just
my new
named,
story.
like all the things you just said with such ease and confidence, truly will take time to settle into our bones. If we're talking about story, like that's not the story that we've been living under, you know, societally in religion. So we can sit here and say, your intuition knows, like the path is in front of you, the new skin is there. And of course, that's going to feel terrifying and untrue. It actually feels untrue in the story that we find ourselves in a lot. And so it's like I'm listening to you just like say that and we're nodding and we're like, yes. And also like I still feel that narrative of just like, can we be trusted? We laugh about the verse, like lean not on your own understanding.
Right.
We just keep talking about it. It's like, okay, that's all I have, you know, but sure. And so now learning that it is safe to lean in, that even that, you know, you said earlier, like, oh, why did I date that guy? Why did I do that thing? It's like, that was the next right thing.
Yeah.
And as I settle in, as I let myself feel my grief and show myself that I'm safe, I will come out of it. I can trust myself. Like, that's a big story to rewrite, but I am appreciating hearing you speak with such ease, a new story that you're experiencing in your life, you know?
To piggyback off that, and as we're winding down here, I just want to put words to something. I'm like, there could be tears behind this, but I am just so grateful that you are who you are, that you chose to be present with your soul and fully embrace your human experience, because I'll own there's a nasty story I've been carrying around. You know, in my humanness, it's a little bit mean and petty, but the story is like millennials are like on this island healing from the pain of the older generation. And we're alone and they're never going to do anything about it. Gets worse and meaner and there's a lot of pain there.
Oh,
but
I want to hear all the rest.
Oh my gosh. Okay. After, stay on. Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm just sitting here with like humility and gratitude that the whole time there has been, like, when we were like looking at your website, you wrote a book, Wrestling with God, in 2004. I was entering high school. I was in middle school. Like, while I was this scared good girl, so afraid of doing it wrong, there was people in the older generation saying, but what about this? But what about this? Doing Dark Night of the Soul in your 30s. And now here we are in our 30s, like, together. Like, this is magic. This is like the colors of our wall match. Anyway, just there's a lot here. But I just want to thank you for not like doing the work and proving my story wrong. More like you took radical responsibility for your story and didn't put the questions down when perhaps at certain times there was pressure to like just go with it. And I'm just so grateful for this. I think we do need intergenerational relationships, and this is like feels like a step towards safety in that for me. And there's also a question, but I feel like I just kind of need to pause in that, like, gratitude.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
That means a lot to me. I receive it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
all right. The question that comes with that is, sorry, I'm like pulling myself out of that. I just was thinking about like we come to this podcast, Good Girl Gone Human, with a lot of curiosity and not certainty. So we have a lot of questions, and with the questions, there's stories attached. So we would love to hear you speak to our larger question or the story of like, we have worked so hard our whole lives to be seen as good because it was unsafe being bad, whether it was the threat of hell, the threat of authority figures punishing us. And the work we want to do is reach other people that are holding the tension. Like, is it really okay to put those labels down? And as the host of the podcast, I'm not fully like settled in, oh yeah, it's totally okay, just go for it. Like, we're doing the gritty human work here. And so as we're like ending this time together, I would love to just hear your take on that languaging, like putting those good labels. What could be a story that everyone listening, including us, can take with us?
Thank you for that question. I would not presume to speak to the experience of women, but I can offer something that I think might be universal and might be helpful.
Love it.
And the reason I would not want to presume to speak for the experience of women is because I think that women, in many ways, are in a double bind in our culture, especially where high demand and high expectation and heavy religion is concerned, evangelicalism and all the rest of it. It's awful. It's just crippling. It's awful. It's crushing. But here's what I want to suggest. What if the thing that we have been shaped by, which is if I stray out of the boundaries of this role and the agreements that I made in this role, if I violate the terms of this script, I will be punished, which is true. What if the thing that's under that is actually the thing to confront? It's not about whether we break the rules or get outside the boundaries or don't follow the agreements. What if it's, how do I know that I have a fucking right to be here? Like, what if that's the real question?
I think that
How
is
do
the question.
I know I get to be here? How do I know that I can claim my right to walk this planet? And nobody gets to tell me that that's okay or not okay. Nobody gets to give that to me. Like, how do I claim my sovereignty? How do I get to say, this is my birthright? I get to be here, and not my parents, and not the pastor, and not the advertisers, and not the ad people, and not the money thing, and not the peer pressure, and not the everybody. None of that can tell me who I am. In which case, they can punish me all they want. If I don't work for them, if they don't hold the keys to who I am, then they can punish me all they want to. It doesn't work.
Wow.
Ready? We're going to go cosmic for a second. This is, by the way, the idea of crucifixion and resurrection. Like, I mean, I don't even work for you people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you
Sure.
can kill me? Okay, kill me. I mean, what?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep loving you. Like, I'm love. Like, for me, that is the whole point of the Christ consciousness being incarnated as this particular person. This is just, I'm going to push love to the absolute limit. Here we go.
Jeez.
It's not about being saved for sins. You know what I mean? That's just that's a later invention. That's not it. It's about somebody who was fully in his selfhood to the extent of, I'm going to love and love and love and love and love, and you're going to kill me for it because that's what you do. And I'm going to take it, and I'm going to keep loving all the way. Wow. He knew what he was doing here. Like,
Yeah.
nobody could take that from him. Like,
Yes.
the great women and men who are our mothers and fathers in this work of spiritual awakening have always been the people who have awakened to the true nature of what it means to be human, which is, I get to be here. I'm supposed to be here. I have a reason to be here. I have work to do. Nobody can take that from me.
Wow.
Beautiful.
So that's just a thought.
That's just a thought about.
Oh yeah, just a little mic drop.
And the
no
beauty,
big deal.
the beauty of those, that being kind of where we land on this episode coming out on Easter week is beautiful. Like,
Poetic.
the rewriting the story of the Christ consciousness, of the story of the crucifixion, of what I would want my own children who are in proximity to religion. So they hear bits and pieces of this narrative of Jesus dying, of Jesus being risen again. And I want them to believe in that life, death, rebirth cycle. I want them to believe in their wholeness. It is so powerful and healing for me to hear that there is a story for them there, and our family gets to hold this part of the story. You know, that was like,
Yeah, thank you.
that was really beautiful and profound and important for me as I'm thinking about how I want to operate in my own family of origin on Easter week, how I want to operate in my family that's me and my boys now. And we're just so, I mean, will we cry when this ends? I don't know. I feel
definitely.
overwhelmed. I just feel so
The
grateful.
story of true
cry.
love can never be taken.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And we want to like champion you and all of your work and the
Oh,
things
thank
that
you.
you're doing. And of course, we will do all of our part to put out your Instagram and your social media, your TikTok, all the things, your website. We'll share that on ours. But I do want to ask too, if people find you from our podcast, what can they expect? Like, what are your offerings right now? What would you, I know you said you had a book coming out too. I'd love to hear when that's coming out and just what people can come to you, what they can expect when they come to you.
Thank you for asking. This is, you guys are the shit. I'm serious. You are the
Thanks.
best. You're amazing.
You too.
Christina Wisdom and I are co-writing this book on story healing, and we still don't know the name of it because every time we think we have it completely figured out and we're like, yep, that's it. And then we go, oh, wait, what about the thing about the da-da-da? And, you know, I have a session with a client, or she and I have this great conversation, or we go to, you know, have some meaningful ceremony, and then we have an awakening, and we're like, anyway. So at some point we just have to stop. We just have to say,
Name the thing. Yeah.
for this one, and then save those for the next one, which is great. If somebody goes to my website, drrickdiamond.com, there's a contact me form on there, and then it has options for, are you interested in like soul mentoring and spiritual direction, which I offer? Are you interested in doing like a series of storywork sessions, like I need to make this decision, or I need to figure this problem out, or I have this question, or whatever, and they can do a 1 session or a 4-pack, or, you know, there's all those options. And then I also offer retreats that I'm doing from time to time, one of which is that I'm doing a retreat on inner transformation from abandonment to wholeness at Ghost Ranch in northern New Mexico in the first weekend of August.
Wow.
I'm so
Well,
excited.
I'll be looking at that.
And they invited me to come, and Christina and I were
Wow.
like, "Oh yes, please. We would
Yeah.
love to." We used to live in Santa Fe. We love
Mm.
Austin. That's our home. But we lived in Santa Fe for 2 years, so we were like, "Yes,
Yeah, we'll be
Yes,
there.
please.
Yes, we will."
Thank you. Okay, great.
Also, I may be leading a men's retreat this fall here in Texas, which would be really, really great. I just got invited to do that, and all that stuff is. I have a free, like a little email
Okay.
weekly
Awesome.
newsletter every week, which has news in it and all that kind of stuff. But basically, it's just a contact form where if
Great.
somebody wants to work with me, and I also consult with companies, and I've done it with churches, I've done it with seminaries. So if like there's a group that wants to do a story work process, can be really helpful with a group of people as well, right? If they need to do
totally.
some discerning around a question or a problem or whatever. So
That's beautiful.
I'm just doing stuff.
You're
I
just doing
love it.
stuff that's like incredible and beautiful, meaningful.
Oh, thank you.
And I just, in the like arc of this conversation and how each step leads us to the next thing, I'm like, here we are, the three of us sitting together, and it just feels so special.
It's
I'm
perfect.
so honored to sit in this space with the two of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your willingness not to give up or conk out or be bitter or whatever. Like, this is creation and co-creation that you're doing, and it's really meaningful and it matters, and your angels are super excited for you. I'm just saying.
Thank you, Dr. Rick. Oh,
Thank you.
that was such a gift to hear and such a gift to talk with you. Oh man, just perfect timing. Perfect. Everything's perfect. Like you said, I notice like you say it's all happening a lot, don't you? I keep hearing that. It's all happening. I love that.
All happening.
So, with that, all the humans listening and Dr. Rick, all the beautiful, shining, eternal souls having a human experience that are listening, we like to close out each episode to remind you all that you are an absolute badass and the most fragile thing. So treat yourself as both. And we love you. Thank you, Dr. Rick.
Thank you both so much. This is beautiful.